Today I will discuss king and pawn in games from the book Handed in Games You Must Know. Without further ado, let's start. So the ending one is the rule of square. This is the most basic concept, but someone still might not know this. Look at this position and can you tell in an instant this pawn promotes or not? Pawn goes here, king goes here, and the pawn promotes. If you were calculating like this, you could have known this in an instant. Here's the idea. Taking pawn position as one vertex and the promotion square as the another vertex, draw a square. If the king is outside this square, then the pawn will promote safely. In this position, if the king was here, the pawn could not promote because it's entered the square. This is so simple. So let's move to the next ending. So the second ending is the pawn on the 6th rank. So here, as you can see, the pawn is on 6th rank and both the kings are staring each other. This is called the opposition. If the both king are in opposition, whoever move first is at disadvantage. So here, as you can see, it's black to move. Black goes to f8 and here pawn goes to f7 and black has to move out of that. So black goes e7 and after king to g7, the pawn promotes. But instead, if white has to move here, it is a draw. Because after pawn goes to f7, king goes to f8, the king has to move to f6 to protect this pawn. If it move anywhere, black king will simply capture this piece and it's a draw. If king goes to g6, it's a stalemate. So it is the most important idea you have to know. If you are playing king and pawn in game, always try to give opposition to the other side. So here's another example. Calculate this. It's winning for white, but calculate the winning move here. Here if you played king to b5, you actually blundered and it's a draw now. Because you have to recall, whoever is in the opposition and has to play first is at disadvantage. Black will play b8 and it's the opposition. White has to move first, so white is at disadvantage. White has just lost its winning position and it's a draw now. Because after you pushes the pawn, black will simply go to c8 and if you go to c6, it's a stalemate. If you go any other than c6, black will capture the piece and it's a draw. So the actual winning idea here is king to e6, because after that both the kings are in opposition and black has to play first. Black is at disadvantage. Black has only one move, king b8, and after king to b6, black can either go again to the corner or to the c8. If it goes to the corner, be careful to not promote the pawn. That will be a stalemate. You just have to move the king forward and secure the pawn promotion. King will go to a7. You just go to d7 or d8 and the pawn will promote. Black cannot do anything. White will promote to the queen. In this ending, we have a special case, knight's pawn. If this pawn was on f6, e6, d6, black would have easily won. But here, after king to h1, it's a draw. It's a special case because after king f2, white is trapped and white cannot go anywhere. If black gives a check, then white will simply go to g8 and black has no choice but to stalemate it or let the white capture the pawn. Ending theory, we will know what if the pawn is not on the 6th rank, what if it is on the 5th rank, 4th rank, 3rd rank or 2nd rank. So here pawn is on the 5th rank and if the white king has secured the 3 squares ahead of it, these are called the key squares. So if white is on these 3 squares, then white will win the game. If he is unable to acquire these 3 squares, then it will end up in a draw. So here white will go to e6 giving the opposition. Black has to move and if black goes to d8, white will simply go to f7 and secure the pawn promotion. Black goes anywhere, pawn will simply promotes. If the pawn is on 4th rank, 3rd rank or 2nd rank, then the key square is 2 steps ahead. If the king is on these 3 squares, then white will simply win the game. So here the pawn is on the 4th rank and its key squares are on the 6th rank. If white is able to acquire one of these squares, then white will simply win this game. So here white has to play king d5. If white plays king e5 and after king e7, it's a draw because white cannot acquire one of the 3 key squares of this pawn. After d5, black will simply mirror this king giving opposition and it's a draw. You have to know one thing in mind, that the king should be always ahead of the pawn if you want to promote the pawn. So if you are playing as a black here and white just pushes the pawn, then simply be in front of the pawn. As long as you are in front of the pawn, it is a draw. What if white again pushes the pawn? Be in front of the pawn. If white tries to get king, just give the opposition, be in front of the pawn and it will be a draw. If white pushes the pawn, be in front of the pawn, and here white has to either a stalemate or let the black king take the pawn. Try this position. The drawing move is king b1, not b2, because after b2 the king can go to b4 and it's the opposition and white king has to move, so white is at disadvantage. If it moves here, then black will again give opposition to the white king, and after going here, black will just outflank, make a safe path for its pawn to promote. King b2 is a wrong move and it's actually losing. King b1 is the move to win here. Why? Because if you push the pawn, I will go to king c2 and you can't push now, so king has to go here, and after that white will just give opposition to the black king and it's a draw. We have seen this before. If black king goes to c4, then we will go to c2, give opposition to the black king and it's a draw. And if black king goes to b4, we will go to b2 and give opposition to the black king, again it's a draw. So here king to b1 is the drawing move. So the ending for is rook's pawn, and the rook's pawn are the exception. It's mostly draw because here in this position white king is stuck in the corner. If black try to push the pawn, then it will be a stalemate, and if black king try to go forward, then white will be able to capture the pawn. It's a dead draw. So this ending is kind of similar or same to the ending for rook's ending. Instead of white getting a stalemated, black gets a stalemated. So here the drawing move is king c1 and black has to stop white king from getting to the corner. So he plays king a2, white has to play king c2. After he pushes the pawn, black has only one move, king a1, and after king c1, black has two options, either to repeat the moves or gets stalemated. Either way, it's a draw. This is the end of the video. Practice this position. These are basics king and pawn in games. If you master this, you will not make mistakes in kings and pawn in game. So that's all. See you in the next one.